First of all, let me apologize. I bought a new microphone for the camera. It has a battery in it as an independent power supply, and I forgot to turn it on. So there's no sound for the video. The purpose of this car nuts meeting was to test fit the engine into the Dragster and to paint it. Now I know it's a sin to paint an aluminum block, but I like the Pontiac blue. It goes well with the Dragster, so we're going to paint it. For this meeting of the car nuts, we had in attendance John Shippard, Tom Dial, George Lever, Sam Pizzo, Ken Long, Frank Seraphin. So the first order of business was to get some hardcore bench racing out of the way. And once we did that, we decided to get productive. So the first thing that we needed to do was to get the engine off the cradle. So we got one of my favorite tools organized, and master mechanic Ken Long pulled the bolts out of the back of the cradle so that the engine could be lifted up out of the cradle. Sam Pizzo was the crane operator and did an excellent job. The engine was a little stuck in the cradle, so a little gentle persuasion convinced it to come free, and we lifted it up out of the cradle. George Lever used the lifting fixture to level the block out so that we could get it into the Dragster. Up it comes, over it comes, up it comes again. Uh-oh. It looks like the battery cradle is going to be in the way, so we're going to have to take it out of the Dragster. Okay, we got it out. It should come down. It was decided that the old man should take the responsibility of lowering the engine into the Dragster in case disaster struck. The way the engine fits into the Dragster is the bell housing dowel pins slide into the mid plate, and the front plate sits on the chassis. Now we had a little trouble getting the dowel pins to slide into the mid plate, and with a little persuasion we were able to do it. My son held the Dragster in place, and everybody pushed on the motor, and the pins slid into the mid plate. So one of the big questions we've had since this engine was built was the body going to fit around the pump and the mag on the front of the motor? We decided to take the body down off the wall to see if it would fit, and to move the hoist out of the way. We took one side panel down and the top panel down to see if it would fit. We need the side panel because the top panel fastens to the side panel, and the side panel positions the top panel. It's not going to fit. We're going to have to cut the body if we're going to run the body. There were some different opinions on how to cut it. It looks pretty good, but the body has to come back another 4 inches to be positioned correctly. So we'll have to put this in the back of our mind and come back to it later. Time to put the body back up on the wall and start preparing the engine for paint. That means the engine has to come back out of the Dragster so that we can do the prep work. Out it comes. Those dowel pins are a little sticky. They're not exactly the same distance apart as the old engine. So we moved it over to the center of the garage, and then we had a discussion of whether we should put it on an engine stand or leave it hang from the hoist. We decided to leave it hang from the hoist, and the first thing to do was to get the decal off the oil pan, and we use a heat gun to do that. And so the process of preparing the block for paint begins. We're going to put caps over all the bolts, so the bolts remain anodized black. We'll tape off everything we don't want to get paint on, including the intake. We certainly don't want to get any overspray on the beautiful paint that's on the Dragster. So we're going to have to cover that up. And we're going to cover up the 49 also. I'm not going to worry too much about the floor. It'll be dust by the time it gets there, so we'll just sweep that up. Time to read some instructions, because I've never painted before. They want 20 to 40 minutes between coats. That's a kind of a long time. We'll put on a coat of primer. I didn't have enough mass, so it looks like everybody's going to go down in the basement and pass judgment on the shop down there. So the next thing is a coat of color. Having the engine hanging from the pivot point on the hoist turned out to be very convenient. And once that coat of color is on, then we'll put on a coat of clear. And we had to wait 20 to 40 minutes between each coat. I think the final result speaks for itself. I really like this Pontiac metallic blue. It's the early Pontiac color. The later color was a solid blue. I like this metallic blue, and the clear coat adds real nice depth to the paint. Okay, now the fun starts, and had the mic turned on. Okay, let's do the most impressive part first. We'll take the garbage bag off the nag, the lower support, and the front pump. That could be a good usable garbage bag. People are already mad at me for painting this. I'm not saying I'm getting hate mail. Looks like I'm going to have to come back with a Q-tip and get some of these. Some of the block didn't get painted. I do have a question. I wonder where I should store it. Should I store it in the cradle? Or should I store it in the Dragster? I might just set it back down in the Dragster. If I set it in the Dragster, I might have to put the blower on. Let's set the spark plug wires in place just to see what it looks like. I know the plugs have been painted, but I need to see what the wires look like in place. We will need new plugs. They lay out really nice. I like them. I hate it when wires run all over the place. All right. Pull some more tape off the bottom here. I think I got it all now. This pivot works really well. Now we need valve covers. Okay. A little powder coating. This is what we got. I debated whether to put the valve covers from the old engine on this engine, but I was outvoted by the crew chief. She said she liked these better. I have to agree with her. Okay. Off comes the paint cover and on goes the new cover. Now I'm using very little pressure here. I just ran the screws down. I didn't torque it. comes the rest of the tape. Alright. I think we got to put it in the dragster. Looks pretty good. We're putting a bolt through the mid plate into the back of the engine to hold it in place. It won't go anywhere now. Stand back and take a look. Some fitment issues have come to light, and there will be videos on the fixes. If you like this video, please click the thumbs up, the like, and subscribe. Thank you.